John Helms with U.S. Law Shield. Anytime we handle a gun, it's always good to think about firearm safety. Prior to, during, and even after you handle a firearm safety should always be paramount. So I'm sure everybody's heard of the 4 cardinal firearm safety rules. Sometimes there's 5, sometimes there's 3. But as long as you think about safety, it's good. But we always like to cover them no matter what. And it doesn't matter if you're a high-speed operator or if you're a first time behind the trigger of a weapon. Thinking of firearm safety will keep you from having that aw shucks moment. So number 1, we want to treat all firearms as if they're loaded. Every time you put your hand on a firearm, you want to treat it as if it's a loaded firearm. Once you have a good working grip on the gun, we're not juggling it around, we always want to take it a second step. We want to check that weapon to ensure its status. And we do that through doing both visual and physical inspections of the weapon. Once we know that our weapon is in the status that we want it in, we always want to remember to point that firearm in a safe direction. So what is a safe direction? Well, it has to do with where you're at, the range that you're using, and the type of training that you're doing. But just remember, don't point your weapon at anything that you don't want to kill, maim, destroy, or have the money to replace. Which leads us to keeping your finger off the trigger. Everybody's heard the expression, an itchy trigger finger. Well, it's true. Guns are ergonomically made so that when you relax your hand, your finger easily falls on the trigger. But we want to keep our finger off the trigger, generally along the frame or slide of the weapon, until you've made a conscious decision to pull that trigger. You've identified a target and you've made that decision that that's what I want to fire on. And of course, lastly, we want to know what our target is and what's beyond it. So when your buddy says, hey, come on over to my backyard and let's shoot cans in the backyard, well, that's all well and good, but we always want to know what is beyond that target. Because remember, folks, in this litigious world that we live in, you are criminally and civilly liable for every bullet that exits your weapon. So with that being said, let's always be safe, let's always be careful. Heck, it's okay to check and double check your weapon to know what status it's in.